You guys see me on here? Alright. Hey guys. I'm be on here for a little bit. I'm laying on my bed, so excuse the setup. I would be in the living room, but I'm doing laundry. So, yeah. But anyways, let me like my live since I'm on here. So, and I try to do like a little turban thing for my hair today. I was gonna do my just my normal scarf with the little, I don't know what you call it, but scarf with the bun in the back. But I was like, let me do a turban today because I've never done one. I want to get some new scarves too to do more turban wraps, different colors, satin and all that. But anyways, so today I'll be talking about our people, okay? Because I was grieved in my spirit. Probably Holy Spirit grieved in me, honestly. But I was on Instagram and I'll be looking at people who are, so-called famous influencers and seeing what they be doing, seeing what the culture is into following, so you can talk about it as from a teacher perspective. And I have this one picture of Ronald Reagan, and it was a TikTok video, and it was Ronald Reagan. He had he was the puppet master, and he had strings on one hand and on the other hand, and it was basically, like in the Boondocks, they said he was the devil. Huey said that, and it's true. He did a whole lot of stuff to our community. From what I can remember, drugs, but the people on the strings was a girl holding the alcohol bottle on top of her head like this, people will be with the don 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 Julio. And then another one was a YN, another one was pregnant, being baby mama, another one was, I don't know, maybe a drug addict or something, but I know those three for sure. And like I said, I went to Instagram, checking on what they be doing. And it's one girl, she's a rapper or whatever. And she Sexy Red and Lotto, those type of rappers. And she had a picture with the Don 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 Julio thing on her head from her, I don't know, I guess going to some event. And she was smoking hookah and all that. And she makes a song with some other dude in the video. He's one of us, but he is in the alphabet community and very flamboyant. And not talking bad about him, but it's just to show you what they do to our community, okay? And you have to wonder, why us specifically? And it's not because, they hate your skin color. And I said this multiple times, bro. But it's like, if you don't wake up now, I don't know what to tell you, because we have the awakening of the dry bones, like I said in Ezekiel. And it's prophecy, right? The dry bones will be awakened. The tribes won't be two separate tribes anymore. They'll be all 12 together. And only a remnant will be saved. But anyways, you have to wonder why they do this. It's not because they hate your skin color. It's not because, of course, we're blessed athletically more than a lot of people, music-wise, cooking, our food's really good. There's other people that's really good, but what else? Fashion. A lot of stuff we do is the blueprint. A lot of stuff that is promoted comes from us, and they stole it. And mostly everything, honestly. You have to understand, the Bible is, like I said before, it's not a Christian book. It is a book about Hebrew people and their culture, how God came to them, made the covenant with Abraham, and then, Abraham, Isaac and Rebecca, she had 2 sons in her womb. God said, you have 2 nations in your womb, and one is going to rule over the other. And Jacob was a trickster, Esau was a hunter, red hairy, Esau means red. And then Jacob had 12 tribes. 12 tribes kept going to rebellion against God, and God was wanting them to preach his way to the world, but they kept going into the world. Esau and Jacob was beefing all the time, and Esau hated Jacob and God hated Esau. And you wonder why these things are happening in our community. Alphabet community plaguing our community, baby mama culture, baby daddy culture plaguing our community. Like I said, the Don Julio drinking plaguing our community, clubs, and the garbage music, praising of people like Sexy Red, praising of people like NBA Youngboy. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Y'all have my mic. My phone is literally touching my bed, so I'm like, dang, my mic's covered. Hopefully you hear me though. But anyway, yeah. So you gotta think about these things. Jim Crow. What else? Bombing of Black Wall Street and others of our communities. What else? Let's see. The Pentagon was literally made on a community of so-called black people, and they destroyed that community to build the Pentagon. Research that. Hopefully, if you use Google, it won't lie to you, because that's what they be doing nowadays. Because it's owned by, yes, those type of people. But anyway, so yeah, 12 tribes kept going to rebellion, and then 10 tribes got clapped by Assyria. The other 2 tribes that were left were Judah and Benjamin, and they assimilated together. And that's who Jesus was talking to when he came down. And like he said, he said he was only sent to the lost tribes, and was trying to get them. All of this whole thing was trying to get us back into communion with God, but we kept going to rebellion. Even after Jesus came, in Acts they were going to the children of Israel, but the religious leaders, Edomites, Herod was an Edomite. You see what he did, try to kill Jesus. And then I think the other Herod that killed John the Baptist, he was, I think, half Edomite too. And like I said in Revelation, persecution of Israel by the dragon. The dragon is Edom, and basically Satan. But Satan has a people. God has a people. And so that's what it is, bro. I'm trying to not be all over the place. But anyway, so that's what happened. And you wonder why all this stuff happened to our people. And like I said, it's not because your skin color. It's not because of, the abilities we have and all these things. It's because of the curse of Deuteronomy 28. The curse of what would happen to us if we didn't follow God, and talks about what happened. We worship gods, wood and stone. We would be sold in ships and never see the land again. And also in Genesis, God was talking to Abraham, and he was like, your people, they're going to go into bondage 400 years, but they'll come out with a lot of gold, riches, and all that. And then he talked about, again, how they're going to go into bondage again. And that is what happened over here in America with the 400 years. So, and then people try to debunk that as like, oh, well, let's not talk about so-called African Americans. It's like, tell me another people that got sold in ships twice. Well, not twice. That got sold in ships and that was in bondage twice, 400 years. Oh, wait, you can't. Only people that happened to was so-called African American. And we was called Negroes, but they changed our name over a lot of times. Negroes, African American, Black. And it's like, why do you call yourself Black? Like, think about it. An Italian. Oh, hey, Grace. Think of like an Italian. Where are they from? Italy. Think about an Indian person. Where are they from? India. Think about a Mexican person. They're from Mexico. Russian person, Russia. Who else? Japanese, Japan. How you doing, Grace? Nice to see you. Let's see, who else? Korean person, they from Korea. And then they say, Black person, where are you from? African American. You can't be from two continents. Oh, you're from Africa, then you came to America. Okay, what part of Africa? You don't know. Like a Nigerian, they from Nigeria. Kenyan person, they know they from Kenya. African American don't know where they from. And it's because people not teaching I'm doing pretty good. You doing okay? Well, I hope you do better than just okay. But I'll be praying for you that you get better than just okay. That you're doing great. But yeah, the scholars, theologians, the people that are in control of the media, the magazines, newspaper, and like Satan is controlling the airways. The Bible says he's the prince and power of the air. The people that control the school books, all that stuff. You're welcome. The people that control that stuff, obviously, if you have a brain, you can know and realize it's not us up there who are running the show, who have the right to tell you that it's okay for a man to go into a girl bathroom, who have the right to tell you you need to accept the alphabet community, and if you don't, you're gonna get fired. The people who push all this demonic stuff on us in the culture, and there's so many things to get into. But look up who owns this stuff. Look up who own the record companies. Is not, of course, it's not us, but it is those people over there that are saying they're God's people. And like God said in Revelation 2:9, they call themselves, JEWS, but they're a synagogue of Satan. And when you look into what they do, and again, it's not all of them over there, it is different types of people. It's one specific group, and starts with A, ends with a Nazi. But I can't say everything right here because they like to sit up here ban people. But it's not all of them. It's before they got over there, they were doing fine, right? They're actually real JEWSs over there that are actually, follow the Torah and all that. But the one specific people that are over there that have no Semitic blood that are from Europe, that are from that have not Polish, that have European descent. Dang it. That are oh wow, I have 1K likes. W. But yeah. Those are the ones. Those people. Those are the ones that are in control. And you'd be like, how? Look up who owns the corn industry, the nasty movie industry. Look up who owns that. Look up who owns the music industry, these record labels. Look up who owns the media. Look up who owns like just those three things. Look up that stuff and then do your research. God tells us, studies show ourselves approved. And people don't really do that as much as they should. And they follow pastor, they follow religion instead of following the Bible. Like, follow the Bible first. Read the Bible, study what it's saying. Study these people groups. God say the whole Bible is inspired word of God, given for reproof, given for doctrine, and I can't remember the other one. But basically all of the word is inspired by God. All the word is not meant to just be like, oh, this is really important, and then you say, oh, well, that's not important. Like the genealogies, all that stuff is important. And you look up Gog, Magog, look up Ashkenaz, look up this descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You need to look up this stuff, because if you don't know who the people are that the Bible's talking about, that in Joel, like in Obadiah, like in Amos, I think Zephaniah, Zechariah. You don't know who he's talking to, and you don't know who the promises of the Bible are geared towards as well. Like in Romans 9, I think, and maybe Romans 11 too, where he talks about how God cut off Israel and went to the Gentiles because he wanted to provoke us to jealousy, because we wanted to keep doing what we were doing and rebelling against him. And he said he did that so they'd be able to get in on the gospel as well. But then he was like, God didn't cast away his people. He said he had us be cursed, scattered, because we wasn't listening. He literally pleaded with us so many times. Like, let me see, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Then you got Judges. Wait a minute. Joshua, Judges, and around Judges is when they start acting fool. Judges, Ruth, 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, all about us being stupid and not listening to God. And then Jeremiah, even him, he was talking to us, and he was telling them, you need to get back serving God. And they were like, tell us what God say, we'll listen, and we'll do what he say. And he telling them, and they're like, yeah, so anyways, we're not going to do what you're saying, because ever since we left off from serving Ashtoreth and Diana, whatever, Queen of Heaven, we've been cursed. We ain't been getting all these blessings. Our food been dry. And it's like, no, it's cause and effect from being dumb and not serving God and serving the devil, which cause you to reap death. But anyways, I don't know how I got on a tangent, but yes. So if you don't know who the Bible talking about and who is that's what I was saying, Romans. And he said he did that so he could provoke us to jealousy. And because, we 400 years we've been here, straight humbling. You got, as a so-called black person, especially as a black man, nobody can really sit up here and tell you, maybe like another person of color as like maybe a Hispanic or something, they can kind of relate, but like nobody knows what it feels like to be driving, a cop pull up behind you, and you gotta wonder like, dang, am I gonna be another hashtag? Nobody can sit up here and, like, it says that in Deuteronomy 28 that would happen. It said we would it would be day and we would wish it was night. It would be night and we wish it was day. And then it say we would have fear and we wouldn't have peace, and how it's a whole lot of stuff. Just go read it, okay? Read it and have a mindset of like, I don't know who, well, let me not say I don't know who. Read it and have a mindset of like, this is talking about so-called African Americans, because it is, whether you believe me or not. I've done my research. The Holy Spirit showed me all these things and led me to a lot of different people that have confirmed all this stuff. I've done my research. Hundreds of hours of videos, all types of stuff. And you just gotta do your research because the truth's out there. Whether you want to believe me or not, I don't really care, because I know what I'm talking about. You need to research this stuff because it's important, because if you don't, you either going to be following the Antichrist or you're going to be following God and following the truth. Because the people that are over there that's saying his people, are not, okay? They are synagogue of Satan, bro. Literally. They have the Talmud, which is a disgusting book. They believe Jesus is in hell, burning in excrement. They think it's okay to sleep with little kids. Everyone else is a goyim. They think we need to be serving them and be their slaves. They have America and all these other countries wrapped around their finger. And it's like, all right, they the ones that are controlling stuff, bro. Okay? And they've done it throughout history. They've been kicked out of every country they've been in, and they come from Europe. They were, I think 720 AD, maybe 740 AD, something like that. They had the Christians on one side, they had the Muslims on the other side, and they had to choose because they were out here acting crazy, stealing, killing, all that stuff. And they were like, bro, we don't have time for this. You either going to choose to be Christian or Muslim. Which one is it? And so then they were like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. And then they said, all right, I'm going to convert to Judaism. And they still did their foolishness, King Bulan. And they just rampage and ransack, if that's the right word, every place and everywhere that they go. And that's what they're doing now. They flood the society with corn, nasty movies. They flood the society with that. They make the society over-sexualized, and they push their agendas of, alphabet community agendas on the society, the culture, because that's what they do. Okay? And people be like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. No, you are not researching. You're not studying to show yourselves approved. You're not, you're ignorant of Satan's devices. God tells us, be not ignorant of Satan's devices. You're supposed to be, I forgot the other verse. Is a workman worthy of his hire, or something like that. But whatever the case, you need to know these things. And you're like, people's like, oh, it's not about race and all this stuff. It's like, it's not about race. It's about facts. We're supposed to worship God's spirit and truth. It's about facts. If the Bible was about Asians, I will tell you. The Bible ain't about Christians, and it's not. The Bible is about, I will tell you, the Bible is about Asians. The Bible it was about God went to the Asians and and specifically whatever, but it's not about them. Okay, it's about so-called African Americans and the other 11 tribes that are scattered around the world. Like, so many things in my brain. I have like 5,000 tabs, and it's like, if I try to pull up one, it's like sometimes I don't be remembering because I have so many things I'll be remembering. But the other 12 tribes 11, it's like, of course, the so-called African Americans, Judah. And the other ones, I can't remember off the top of my head. But I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, it is, that's what it is. So, yeah. So you wonder why this stuff is important. Because then you'll know the promises that God has about the second Exodus and what he's going to do. He said he's going to come back and he's going to regather us. And he says that in so many different books. He says it in a lot of the majority of like the middle of the Bible, which of course a lot of pastors, preachers, whatever, they don't care for the middle of the Bible. Is, oh, read the New Testament, read John, read Matthew. It's like, yeah, that's good and all, but if you don't read from the beginning of the book, like any other book, you don't read from the beginning of the Bible, you're not going to know what it's talking about. You're not going to know who it's talking about. You're not going to know the order of the thing. You're not going to know the order. You're going to be confused. Like, God is order. All right. So you just need to start from the beginning and also research stuff. Ask God to lead you to people that will actually preach the truth of the word and the historical context of it. So you could go like look up Pastor Stephen Darby, School of the Hebrews, a lot of his older videos. Let's see, who else? Those are two right now, I'll just say. And they'll help you a lot. And you might think, oh, you're this conspiracy and all this stuff doesn't matter and whatever. It does matter. And so you are not deceived, okay? So, yeah, you need to know, like, why you get treated the way you do. Why do our people get treated the way they've been treated? For one, we're under curse, Deuteronomy 28, and we don't know who we are. Like it says in the Bible, Israel's blind until the time of the Gentiles is up, which is the time where the gospel is preached to the whole world, not just Israel, not just us. It's going to everyone because we kept rejecting him. But like Paul said, God didn't cast off his people. And he said, don't boast against the branches. He said, we're regrafted in, and then the Gentiles are grafted in. And it's all by faith. So it's not about, you're from the bloodlines. Shem, we're not from bloodline of Ham. Zonda Van Dictionary will tell you that. We are from bloodline of Shem, which is the Negro. We're not from Ham. Ham is, if I'm not mistaken, Canaanites and like those African people like Ethiopians. Yeah. So you just need to research this stuff, man. And then you'll know, like, oh, that's why we get treated the way we get treated. It's spiritual. It's spiritual before it's physical. But you need to know why things are happening physical, so you're not confused and you're not misled. So spiritually, it is God versus Satan, right? Of course. And Satan, God said, the woman's seed will crush his head in Genesis. And so Satan got a people. His people are Esau, Edom, because God said he hate Edom because Edom kept going into sleeping with the Gentiles, like people who worship other gods, and being Jacob's brother, being Abraham's grandson, if I'm not mistaken. He, he should have knew better, but he wanted to be like the other nations. And then it also says a little bit in the Bible about how they would fight against Israel, and how eventually I think somewhere maybe around not Daniel, but 1st, 2nd Samuel or something like that around there, or maybe Chronicles, about how they eventually left Israel and got their own king and stopped wanting to be dealing with Israel, because it was always beef, bro. So it's a lot of topics to touch on, so I'm probably all over the place. But at the end of the day, you need to know for identity purposes, and so you're not led astray thinking, oh, that's God's people, and God's wants us to go worship them, and whatever they do, you condone it. And it's like, last I checked, God say don't murder, and he say, love. Greatest commandment, love God with all your heart, mind, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And it's like, how is that God's people? And even I don't know, was it prime minister? I know over here we say presidents, but whatever. Maybe prime minister is what they're called. But the dude of Egypt, he said people that's over there, they never gonna get accepted because Israel left black and they came back white. And that was in a magazine. You could research that for yourself. So it's like, okay, if they are not the people, then who are they then? And it's like, oh, then you start looking into what they do. You start looking into Talmud. You start looking into Khazaria. You start looking into Ashkenazi, what that is. You start looking into so many words I want to say, but they be like, oh, you're going to get banned. You're banned. But how could I say? Z, the first letter is Z, and then Ionism. Okay? Put those words together. The first letter is Z, and the rest of the word is Ionism. So, start looking into all that stuff, and you're like, oh, they are pushing for the devil's agenda. And then you're like, okay, so then you start seeing, like, you understand what's going on in the world. You understand, like, why is America always sending them so much money? Why, when Biden was in office, was he sending them so much money? Send so much money over to Ukraine? Because that's the new name of Khazaria, is Ukraine. And that's their homeland. And they try and go back over there. Because they know they always in war over so-called Israel, but it's really, it was the land of Canaan, but they renamed it that. But they divided the land. They, like it said, God said in the Bible, he gonna judge them for the dividing of the land and what they did to, what in the world? Somebody invited me co-host. But anyway, and what they did to Jacob, which is 12 tribes, right? And also, you have to just think, okay? I'll just say think. Because it's 12 tribes, right? But then people be like, oh, that's God's people, and call them the JWS. But that's one tribe. And second of all, there's no such thing as JWS. It's Judeans and Benjamites that were there when Jesus came. And Jesus is from the tribe of Judah. Judah and Benjamin basically assimilated, and that's what they decided to call them, JWS. I don't say word because they like to ban people. So, yeah. It's not, every Israelite is not a JEW, but every JEW is an Israelite, okay? Like, there's 12 tribes, so you have to be like, okay, where's the rest of them? Use your brain. Where's the rest of them? They're scattered. We're scattered, bro. The Bible say we're scattered across the world because we kept going into sin. Read Deuteronomy 28, okay? And once you read Deuteronomy 28, you're going to be like, wow, it makes so much sense. Because nobody else has been sold in ships. And like in Joel, I think maybe Obadiah, one of them, maybe both, he was saying the judgment to the land that's as swift as an eagle. And who has an eagle in their flag? What these countries that have eagle in their flags? The European ones, especially over here. That's hold on, I'm gonna turn my fan up. And what else was I gonna say? Yeah, so let's say judgment to land as swift as an eagle. In fact, let me go get my Bible. But let me read it from the actual Bible, because people be thinking I'm lying or something. It's like, I have no reason to lie, bro. It's like people just deceive by religion. That's the problem. And I ain't saying all religion. Well, I ain't religious. It's about relationship with God. If He leads you to a good church home, praise the Lord. Hopefully sooner than later. But religion, it said in Psalms, the nations have conspired against His people. Bruh, my EOS broke to cut them off from being a nation. But say, why does the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Where's that verse? Good grief. Maybe Psalm 86. Psalms. Alright, I'm in my Bible. I'm looking. It's somewhere in here. So I'll be remembering verses, but when it comes to books, verses, exactly where it is, I don't be remembering that stuff like that. Some people be like, oh yeah, Matthew 20, chapter 20, verse 3 says, and I'd be like, dang, how do y'all remember that? Let's see. Alright, moving on. I don't know where it is, but it definitely say, why does the heathen rage and people imagine a vain thing? The people decided to cut Jacob off from being a nation, and we definitely are, because we think it's okay to promote people like Sexy Red. We think it's okay to promote baby mama, baby daddies. We think it's okay to be smoking and drinking, smoking hookah. We think it's cool to be buying chains, waste our money on chains, but don't own no land, don't have no assets. We think it's okay to talk down on our women and our men in the music. Like, who else is doing this crap? Y'all, I'm looking for Joel. I found it. So, now, for you who might think I'm lying, that's the Bible. Okay. Joel. Let's see. All right, Joel chapter 3, verse 1. He said, "For behold, in those days and at that time when I bring back the captives of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will enter into judgment with them there, on account of my people, my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. They have also divided up my land. They have cast lots for my people, have given a boy for as payment for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink." Now, if you have critical thinking skills, like I said, you have to know who he talking about and who he talking to. Israel, like I've told you, 12 tribes. Israel is the scattered so-called black people around the world, and for us, we are from the tribe of Judah, and you're Israelite, you're a Hebrew Israelite. Again, I always say I don't agree with them people in the corners, because their foundation is masonry, and they be pushing hate, and yeah. But when it comes to identity, they got that right. But and they be talking about Old Testament stuff when we're in the New Testament now, under grace and love and faith. But anyways, yeah, so he's talking to Edom, alright? And like I told you, research School of the Tribes, School of the Hebrews on YouTube, watch his videos. Edom, him talking about Edom, you'll see it, it's like 10 plus or so part series he did of going live, and they're older videos, maybe like 6 years or so. And he talked about them, and he, oh hey Jared, and he what was I gonna say? Yeah, he talked about the Apocrypha. And again, religion tell you don't read the Apocrypha. Specifically for religion I was raised in, Seventh-day Adventist, they talk about don't look at it, don't touch it, it's wrong, whatever. And it's like, of course they would say that, because for one, they never read it, and if they have, they haven't read the whole thing, because historical, it just talks about history. It talked about history, and talks more about the 12 tribes, who they are, and talks about who Edom is, things like that. And yeah, so go look into that if you are not brainwashed to think it's a problem, because the Bible referenced Jasher, the Bible referenced these books, like, bro. And it was in the Bible before the Catholic Church took it out. And Edom is Rome, okay? They, like I said, is spiritual. God loves Israel, even though we all keep going rebellion. Still are. A lot of us are waking up, but a lot of us still following this world and following Babylon, honestly. This was never our culture. Our culture is what the Bible tells us to do, okay? That is who we are. We're Hebrews. This tells us how to live, but we don't know that because we are lost and blind, and that's what the Bible says. So God talking to Edom in here, chapter 3 of Joel. And he said, they have divided up my land. Okay, you know what they did over there to his land, divided it up. And they cast lots for my people. Talk about slavery and all that. Gave a boy as a payment for a harlot. So, slavery. You know what they were doing, slavery. It was a whole lot of taking advantage of everyone. Boys, girls, women, men. You know, they did with the bucking and all types of stuff they did to us. And that's why God's gonna judge them for sin, judge the whole world for sin, but judge for what they did to his people. Judge for the, hopefully I don't get banned for what I'm gonna say, but the truth is truth, okay? Judge for the R word of women, men, women, children, girls, boys. Like I said here, gave a boy as a payment for a harlot, sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Eating us, making us be furniture, lynching us. What else? The characters in the shows, blackface and all type of stuff. And just all of us that died just from coming over here in the ships, slavery, not getting paid for it, and systematic racism, Jim Crow, Willie Lynch, all type of stuff. The COINTELPRO of taking out all of our leaders, and putting drugs and stuff in our community and over-sexualizing us. The women, making the men seem like they're thugs, locking our men up. Just killing us, bro. And you wonder, oh man, it's so wrong what they did, and it's what they even do now. Prejudice, systematic oppression, redlining. And you wonder, like, man, our people been through a lot. And you think it's just random, think it's just because we're our skin color. Nah, man. It's because we ain't following God. We stopped following him. And Deuteronomy 28 tells you the curses that will happen to us. And because we just lost. We don't know who we are. So we follow anything. So